is up, Goat World? It is me, your boy JDZ, and I am back at you with another Goat format video. Back with me in the building today, I have a returning champion. Yes, that doesn't happen too often because a lot of people don't win that often. But I got this guy, and I'm telling you, when I say this man is hot, this guy is hot as fish grease. Oh my goodness, the champion. I think he's pretty much a shoe-in for Player of the Year this season. I have none other than Mr. AJTBLS himself. Oh my goodness, AJT, welcome back to the program for the second time. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with your boy JDZ and talk about some GOAT format. How you feeling today? How you living?
I'm I'm feeling great. I'm coming off of a great weekend, coming off of vibes. Yu-Gi-Oh has been unbelievable this summer. It's been a Yu-Gi-Oh summer. You know they say it's a hot girl summer. It's been a hot Yu-Gi-Oh summer.
Absolutely, man. And I think no one has been as hot as as I've said before. You got two major victories this year, two FLC titles. You have a GOAT Grand Prix title, several other tops. You have several other significant wins as well. So what I want to do today on this program, folks, if you're tuning in, if you like goats and you want to get better at goats, that's my whole angle of what I'm trying to do with this program. I have this show. It's called the Champ Chat. Okay, I have AJTBLS in the building, who is a certified dominant Yu-Gi-Oh player of GOAT format. I want to take some time to pick his brain so maybe you and us can get better to get to his level to kind of, grow the game a little bit, man, because that's what it takes. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I believe, in my opinion, there is, at a certain level, there's a disconnect between really, really good players and players who are just coming in trying to become more competitive and get into the competitive field. So what I want to do is be that medium to bridge the gap between champion level players like yourself and the new incoming players, man. So will you help me on this quest to kind of bridge that?
I absolutely will, and also I think that this idea is really important because as much as I love this game, I only play one format. I only play goats, and for me, in terms of like my perspective, which is kind of selfish, is I need this format to grow. I need it to stay alive because I've played the other formats and I only like this one. I only like this one. So I need goats to grow. We all need goats to grow, and I think the way that goats will grow is people progressing and getting better slowly because nobody likes losing 0-2 all the time and
Mm-hmm.
scrubbing out of these events that they travel for. It's important that people get better at this game and they do things to improve because ultimately this is a competition and winning is what is fun.
Right. And to me, and I think those words resonate with me specifically because I also love this game very much. As you know, it has a special place in my heart. I love Go format, but I also just love just making wild combinations and playing wacky decks and playing suboptimal cards and doing all this crazy stuff. And it's because that for me is fun. But I also want to become a more competitive player. What would you say to a player like me that's trying to win, but also trying to do it like my own kind of way? Like what would your words be to a guy like me or someone out watching this video?
Okay, so to the people that love goo, they call this stuff goo. They like talking about cards like the Matter Transporter and Sacred Phoenix of
Oh,
Nethesis and
come on, man,
all
come
these.
on now. That hurts. That hurts. I did well with that card. But
Hey,
go
I
ahead.
needed I needed to pump that card up for a while before I sold it to you. I needed that.
What? Oh, dude. So I got
Just
I got I got
kidding.
vended. I got vended live, folks.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
um, People like these cards and they're fun and they'll take like a winning deck, like they'll copy maybe like the world champions list, and then they'll be like, oh, what if I cut a Book of Moon? They always cut the Book of Moon. What if I cut the Book of Moon and I throw in a Slate Warrior, or I
Oh,
throw
hold
in
up
this
now.
card that was
Oh, now you're throwing shots at my boy Shaggy. I won't tolerate this. But okay, okay.
that's my boy too.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Shout out to Shaggy. Slate Warriors in the building. But go ahead though. I'll let you
Yeah,
spit. Keep going. Keep going.
they'll throw in these cards and then they won't realize like, okay, like what I just did to the deck was I kind of ripped out a piece of its engine and I put in a suboptimal part, and now we got this car going down the highway that it's a nice looking car. It's got the aesthetic. It's got all this stuff, but deep down that engine is missing something, and you like kind of ripped it out and you self inflicted it. Well, I
Mm,
don't think like net decking people is the right way because the community won't grow. I think that before you make these serious changes by cutting one or two cards of your main 40, you need to test it. It can't just be I'm going to roll up to a major tournament and they're going to notice that Book of Moon's gone and I got the Matter transport. Like I'm not going to diss on necessarily just that card. I'm using it as an example. It needs to be tested over hundreds of games or in person, online, and any change you make to a serious deck that's been winning, you need to think about why you're doing it, what it's good against, and basically why is this change justified? Because changing one card of a 40 is a huge deal,
Okay.
especially in this format.
Right, and I think that's really important. You kind of hit on some stuff that is very personal to me because like I said, I am a goo man. I love me some spice, dude. I love getting spicy. I love playing wild cards, but when in terms of deck building and like creating decks and being creative, how do you express that? Like how do you find your way? Okay, so you got the metagame as a whole. This deck is
Okay.
good. I'm only going to play this one deck. Won't that put you at a disadvantage if everyone knows that you're going to be playing the same style of cards? Like how do you gain those advantages in those like niche interactions?
Okay, so if you take a look at like a Chaos Turbo list, ones that I've previously played or that great players have played, Ivan, etc., Chris Mateo's lists, um, of the 40 cards, I would like to say 35 of them will likely be identical in each Chaos Turbo deck.
Hmm.
And this is not because these players are feeding off of each other and like they want to just like it's not like there's some scheming corporation. It's like, oh, you need to play these 35. You can only play with five. It's because there really is only five cards that you can maybe maneuver around without taking the deck from here to here. Okay. And those five cards is what kind of differentiates a really strong deck builder to a really good deck builder. And while let's say, okay, I'm going to a tournament, and they'll be like, okay, AJTBLS is on Turbo. They don't know what five cards
Mm,
I'm mixing and matching, or even six cards, or what I'm main decking, what I'm not main decking, and that right there is kind of like the guessing game, and that's kind of like your meta call for tournaments.
right.
That being said, I'll use an example from like my GGP. I main deck the Sakuretsu armor, which is like kind of unheard of in Turbo. But I did it because I felt like there'd be a lot of Panda Burn and a lot of Warriors,
Right.
and I thought the Sakuretsu would pay dividends other than like let's say a Solemn Judgment. So
Okay.
there's kind of like these little cards, for example, that you can do and make changes with in the deck, but you never change the whole engine of the card. You kind of look at it and be like five cards. Kevin or Fresh IRL made a video and he said that he changing one to two cards is really good at most from a deck that you really like if you're a new
Hmm.
player. And he's right, man. Like just start with a small amount and test it.
So you recommend starting with a proven deck, and then
Yeah.
just kind of what about play style and
Okay.
types of things that you're interested in? Like how do you determine that? Like if I liked playing aggressive decks, or if I like playing control decks, but the best deck for that metagame is the turbo deck, and I'm not well situated to do that, or I don't like playing that style of deck. What do you recommend there? Should you try to build the deck that you want to play in that game, or should you just suck it up, Buttercup, and learn how to get good playing the best cards?
Okay, so that's kind of like a catch 22 question.
Yeah.
So if you were to say, if a warrior guy comes up to me and says, I will only play warriors, but I only have fun playing warriors, but I want to win. Like, should I play Chaos Turbo? And my answer will be no,
Hmm.
because if they only like warriors and they're doing this for fun and they're trying to compete, win with what you like. You
Right.
have great players like SDL Killa who only plays warriors every event, and it's because he likes it. He knows what's going on. He knows the interactions of the deck. And if you're only good with warriors and that's your deck, and let's say Chaos Turbo is the best deck right now, don't run it because everybody else is running it and that's what they're good with. Focus on what you are good with and master it. And then once you master it, you'll get success. Any deck that you master that is decent, you will win. You'll get some progress. And it's kind of like when you get to the higher level, you then master this one deck. Those skills translate and go over to a different deck anyways. So the transition from a guy who's mastered warrior to go to turbo is not that hard. It's kind of like you
Mm.
just need to practice and get those interactions in.
Right. Man, that's make hey, that's coming straight from the champ. All right. So He's spitting right now. So pay attention to this kind of stuff because that's going to get you good quick. Okay, this man has two major titles in one calendar season. That doesn't happen too often. And also, like I said, a GOAT Grand Prix in person event win and several tops in person as well, man. I'm not trying to flatter your ego, man, but you're actually absolutely killing this year. I would say almost a lock for Player of the Year. Maybe Ivan might have something to say about that as the season comes to an end. He's nipping at your heels, but it's gonna be extremely close, man. So I appreciate
nail biter.
Yeah, it's gonna be a finish. But we're talking about as we're talking about some of your tops. We got the FLC 26 that happened. Okay, and another thing I want to mention, you have won this year with Warriors. Okay, you've won with Turbo,
Yep.
obviously, and you've won with Control. This was a surprise pick. No one saw this coming. Talk to me about this deck, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull this deck up real quick right here, so you guys can check that out for your viewing pleasure. So here is the deck from FLC 26 that AJT PS5 uploaded into the tournament that he loaded into the tournament with and had great success. This is a chaos control deck. A lot of people, to include myself, thought that this deck was just done. I thought it was done. I thought it couldn't win. I thought it was just too slow. The game had passed it by, and then you come in out of nowhere, put the Batman cape and cowl back on, and
Yes,
load
sir.
this bad boy up and knock it out, man. So real quick, you could do the card by card, but I think we're kind of beyond that. You guys can all see it, and we kind of know the vibes. But what I would like you to do is just kind of talk to us about the process that you went through to say, hey, this is a deck that's perfectly situated for this event. This is the deck that I'm going to take, and like what that process looks like. Because a lot of people just say, oh, I think it's going to be this, and I'm just going to do that, and I'm a roll with it. And they don't get the results that you get. So just tell the GOAT world about that process, how it all works, and why you did it. And
Yeah. We're not going to talk about it card for card. We're just going to talk about kind of what I expected in this event.
Okay.
So this event, I was expecting a lot of the same decks being the Turbo, Warrior, Burn meta that we've been in.
Yeah.
And I didn't really expect to play a lot of control mirrors. And I felt that I needed to make a deck that, while it still keeps the core of control, because I to be honest with you, I woke up this day and I was like, I want to play control today. Part of me wanted to win with this deck. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't think this deck is as good as, to go back to the previous conversation we were just having.
Yeah.
I don't think that this deck is as good as the current Chaos Turbo deck.
Right.
But I wanted to prove to myself that I could win with a control deck, and that control is not dead when played properly. So
okay.
I said, I'm going to play this deck, but I need to make some changes to the standard control build with Mimics. I'm a Mimic fan, so I kept the Mimic. No Decoy Cheese in this, because I wanted the level 1 Mimic, level 1 meta target. So I was thinking about what cards are really, really powerful and really good against a lot of things. And I didn't change much from my previous control lists, except I added 2 Grave Keeper Spies. And I switched my Regeki Breaks to Wings. And I main decked the creature swap. And the main deck kind of speaks for itself. It does well against a lot of things. We got a main deck Kaiku that does well against the Turbo. And obviously this deck does very well against Warriors because it main decks a ton of Warrior hate. There's only 4 cards in here that are bad against it, being the Noblemans and the Shoots, but the Shoots can still resolve. So it's like 2 cards are bad. So the deck does really well against a lot of things. It's slower because it's control. And the side deck was kind of geared towards dealing with Warriors and Turbo and Burn. So that's it. I completely discounted the other decks. If anyone wants to beat me on reasoning or something else, they got it. I only focus my tournament decks. I mean, maybe take that as a tip. Yeah. Don't focus on siding for so many things. Focus on siding for the things that you'll most likely play. If someone's on that obscure deck, like the library, or they're on whatever, God bless them, because you can still win. Like, my deck can still beat reasoning. But you know what? I just don't have a side for it. I don't have a real pieces. I don't have Threatening Roar. I don't have the stuff. But keep in mind, like, when you're playing a deck, just focus on siding for the decks that you most likely see, and you'll have the most success.
But also, I mean, even in your side, you say you don't have anything for reasoning, but you kind of cover that because you have cards that can spread over multiple matchups. Like you have the Swords of Villain Light, that kind of is decent against reasoning.
Oh
You have
yes.
Assure Priest, that's kind of decent against reasoning. Kaiko is pretty
Yep.
good against reasoning. So you have cards that are not only good for just one thing. Like I know a lot of people, they'll be like, okay, let me get my Threatening Roars, let me get my Jowgins, let me get my, and then you have like 6 slots that are dedicated to like OTK or FTK stuff, and they never play it. Like and they're
Yep.
just burning up extra side slots that you could have for. So that's a great tip. Write that down. Tip for players. Don't side for stuff that you may not face. Side for the real threats. Because there are 4 really
Yep.
potent, powerful decks in our metagame right now, being Burn, Turbo, Warrior, Control. Control is kind of like I said on the downtrend a little bit. AJT bumped that right back up with his performance in his previous FLC. So I think the deck's pretty dope. I think you're pretty dope, and also his Go Grand Prix, the Go Grand Prix deck is going to be over at AJTBLS's channel. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. Link will be in the description. But if you want to, champ, real quick, let's go ahead and with this deck, I want to go ahead and pull up a replay. If you want to roll through that, if you want to.
Yeah. Let's roll through it. Okay.
Okay. So we are here at the replay. I'm going to pull up. This is the finals for FLC 26. AJTBLS is gracious enough. He's going to go through this replay with us and kind of break it down. Some of his thought processes, why he does what he does. I can ask him questions. If you guys have questions or if you see some misplays or whatever, make sure you put it in the comments below and we can get it. We can get this resolved so we all can get better. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead. The replay is up and we're gonna go ahead and rock it out. Tell me what you guys think. So. What's your paper rock scissors method? Are you random? Are you a random guy?
Every single one is random. On Google, I'll type in random RNG generator 1 to 3. 1 will be rock, 2 will be paper, and 3 will be scissors. So
Random.
okay. Another tip.
Tip for play.
Ever since I left that meta game of rock, paper, scissors, I've been able to get more sleep at night because I'll win like 8 in a row and I'll lose 8 in a row sometimes. But I'll just know that I'm not making, oh, he thinks I'm picking this. I don't even know what I'm picking myself. So how can I not be getting that 50-50?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All random, all the time. All right, so you get a hand. It's pretty CC hand. Your opponent gets a pretty decent hand. All right, so you're going first. What are you thinking here? Get the draw.
Well, let's see. Yeah, we draw our serpent. We can't afford it to get nobleman here, but I mean it can happen. I hope I just pitch my Thunder Dragon and we continue play, maybe set the torrential and pass. But I don't know. Let's see what I ended up doing.
Okay. Okay.
I could set the serpent and bait it, but I mean I know he's on warriors at this point, so keep that in mind. So yeah, I don't set the serpent. And this is my first time watching this playback, so
And it's been
this is genuine.
and this is it's been I've been kind of busy. I've been tied up, so it's been months or not months, a few weeks since this happened. So we'll see if the champ can redo it if he can bring it back. So he comes down, pot of greed. And
Yeah.
how do you where's your mind at? I know for me and a lot of players, they'll tend to tilt when they see that their opponent is getting good cards early. What do you think about when you see your opponents drawing the Trinity stuff, getting ahead at no fault of their own?
Okay, so it kind of spirals out of control sometimes once they do a whole bunch of things, and a key play happens here actually. But things spiral out of control when they do all of it in one turn, and you're down to like no cards. You don't have the fodder for the duo. Then it becomes kind of like unwinnable, and you need to come back from a really, really grim situation. But him using Pot of Greed in this situation, it didn't really, obviously it sucks. I hope my opponent never has that. But I mean, you got to realize it's in your deck, it's in his deck, it's part of the format and part of
Yeah,
the game we play. So just learn to deal with it. Don't get tilted and like make the best play that you can. The pot's going to resolve. He's going to draw his cards, and we're going to continue play. But I didn't think that him using the Pot of Greed changed my percentage chance of winning too substantially here. Like it didn't go from like let's say 50-50 to, you know, 70-30 for him. It wasn't like a back-breaking Pot of Greed. It was okay.
gotcha. Hold on, I got a little cut off here. Let me make sure I can see the whole thing. Sorry about that, viewers at home. We got to do it. We're gonna fix this right quick though. You know what I'm saying? There we
Okay.
go. And we're good.
So
Okay, we're good. All right, all
So
right.
he summons here. So he
Okay,
summons here, and I don't use torrential because I want to get value for it. Torrential's a card where you can generate a +1. If I use my torrential here, he loses his Blade Knight, and I lose my torrential. It'll be a 1-for-1.
mm,
I like to think of this game on a plus minus system at all times. When I'm playing decks that are not dealing OTKs or stuff, because then the plus minus system goes out the window. I only care about reducing their life to 0 ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
But on the plus minus system, I can afford to take 2,000 here and set up for my next play of using Metamorphosis on this Serpent. And if this Thousand Eyes can connect, that can be a backbreaker for him, because I know he's on Warriors. It's going to take a lot of cards for him to answer that. And I can get a +1 by consuming his monster, right?
Okay.
As long as I get my Serpent back, I traded a Metamorphosis, and I got to basically take his Blade Knight. It acted like a snatch steal, and I have the body
Mm.
of Thousand Eyes. So it's all about generating pluses. And I said, okay, I can use my life points as a resource, take 2,000 here, and we'll go on future streaks. So I
Okay.
hold the torrential, and he attacks me for 2,000, and I just take it.
Okay. Okay. Life points as a resource. Okay. Right. I hope you guys are writing all this stuff down. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna work.
Now, I draw the best card I could have drawn here. The best. It's actually better than Pot of Greed, and I'll explain why. If I use Pot, it's going to get Solemn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I have a whole bunch of back row here to take care of. Whatever I draw here is going to get Solemn. So I figure to myself, I want my Storm to resolve, as I have a Mirror Force to protect myself from future damage of this 2,000. So what I end up actually doing here is I set my Serpent, and I try to make Thousand Eyes into 5 back rows, and this will get Solemn. I already knew it would be, and now my Heavy Storm is a meal ticket. Hopefully, it doesn't have 2 of them. I'm going to get all of this plus. So I use Heavy Storm now, and now he's down half of his life to my 3,000 or to my 6,000, and now I can just set Mirror Force, and I'm sitting pretty. However, I remember making now. This is recalling. I also should set the Nobleman here to reduce the odds of him like blind MSTing and hitting the middle card. I should probably set the Nobleman as well. Also keeps me under the Trap Dust Shoot, 4
Mm-hmm.
cards in hand. And if he Heavy Storms me and takes my Nobleman and my Mirror Force, that's fine. He got a +1, but it's most likely he doesn't have Storm, because he really held Storm in his hand when he
Right.
could have said it. It
And he
doesn't
had
make
all that
sense.
stuff down there. That's crazy.
Yeah,
All right. So he does get the MST. So that sucks.
correct. On the mirror, which is huge. And then now he takes Dawn, which is, I mean, I guess a questionable play by him, because he knows I have 2 Thunder Dragons in my hand. But now we're kind of getting taken to Pound Town over here, taking 3,400. And then he hits my Nobleman, so he kind of hits the card I should have set as a bluff.
Which is
And then now we're
unfortunate.
down to like top decking, and we top deck a Wing Blast. I guess this will buy us a turn. We can set the Serpent and set the Wing Blast, but it's kind of like, I don't know. And now he knows my Mirror Force and Torrential are gone as well, so I'm stuck taking 2,000 here. So the reason why I don't spin back his Dawn is because I actually am hoping to top deck a Metamorphosis or something, so I can run over the Dawn.
Right.
That's why I was like, I don't want it to trade with my Blade Knight. But I ended up drawing Magician of Faith, and I just scoop.
But that's Warriors. You play Warriors a lot. You know how it is. Sometimes I
Yeah.
made that video. Sometimes Warriors will just jump all over you, and there's really not much you can do about it. You did get that huge plus, and that's the slight, like you said, that's the slight differences that this game can take. Had you set that Nobleman and he MSTs that Nobleman and get Mirror Force, you win that game.
The game.
You
I'm going to
see?
win the game with certainty.
That's just the small interactions that this game takes. Yeah. So what are you side decking here for this matchup?
So I'm going first against Warriors, and I've seen his build because I actually played him in the losers in my winners brackets. He sent me to the winners finals, so I played him actually the round before. So I put in, I believe, I take out my Trap Dust Shoots, both of them. I know people like to keep it in against Warriors, but
Crazy.
I don't think it's right. The numbers on it just don't make sense. So I took out my Trap Dust Shoots, took out my Noblemans. Um, I'm going first. I like to reduce actually a Chaos Sorcerer, as crazy as that sounds, because they run 3 Kaiku.
Right.
So the Sorc becomes kind of dead. So there's 5 cards. And I also like to take out the Mimic level 1, because it's very clear. It's an easy run over for Blade Knight.
Right.
So I like to reduce those 6 cards, and I like to kind of go on an aggro route. I'll go a Berserk Gorilla, a Jinzo, a Swords, a Saku, a Call, and I might add a book, or I might add the Mobius, but that's basically the premise of this deck when we're going first.
Gotcha. Now, when you're siding, I know a mistake that a lot of people make. They try to anticipate what the other player may side in, and then they try to overside to compensate for what the other person is. Like they try to get ahead of the curve. Do you think that's dangerous, or do you think that's something that you should potentially do?
I think it's really dangerous, and I really understand the question that you're asking as well. And the reason why I think it's dangerous is because all of a sudden you're putting these blind variables and giving yourself this justification that's not, it's not factual. You're just making a assumption, and whether your assumption is good or not, there might not be enough research to back what you're saying on this opponent. What if they don't follow your strategy criterion that you're assigning to your opponent? What if he doesn't do what you think he's going to do, and then all of a sudden you're stuck with cards that don't make sense,
Right.
and you have to make suboptimal plays? So don't do that.
Okay. That's from the champ. Write that down. Write all this stuff down. All right. So game 2, you're going first. Hopefully you want to get some good stuff and make it happen for yourself. Here we go. So you got the creature swap, Tsukuyomi Kaiku, Metamorphosis, and the Wing Blast. He's got he brought it in though. He brought it. He recognized control right away and brought in all the control hate stuff. And like you said, you guys did play earlier today as well. So
I was expecting Tiger, to be fair.
and so you knew he knows your tendencies. You know his tendencies. So it's pretty interesting. But there you go. You got some good Trinity. Start to spin off yourself.
I got the pot, and I draw into no fodder for the Wing Blast, but I do draw a Storm, and I think I just normal summon Kaiku, and I set a Wing Blast, and that's my turn.
Okay.
That's it.
So what's the ideal discard here if you got to use this Wing Blast? What's the least valuable card in your hand right now?
Probably Metamorphosis, to be honest with you. There's no fodder. There's no level 1.
Mm-hmm.
But and the other Wing Blast might be needed. So here he normal summons, and I was actually expecting like a Snatch Steal, but when he declared an attack, guys, when this happens, this is like a simple tip. If they're attacking a guy that's bigger than yours, they're using it. They're doing that because they're either trying to get lights and darks in their graveyard for the Chaos Monster. This obviously is not applicable, or they have a Book of Moon in their hand. And the reason why they do it like this is because once I give the thumbs up, I can't use Sakuretsu Armor anymore because the declaration window is passed. But I can still respond to the Book of Moon with a card that does not need to be responded in the declaration phase. So I can't use Mirror Force or Saku, but I can use this Wing Blast in response to the book. I can use my own book, and I can also use Ring. So he is doing the correct play. I think in his perspective, he does need to do this, but it's not going to work out for him here. So, because he tries to book it, so I Wing Blast, and I end up pitching the Tsukuyomi, which is, I think, a good pitch because I can't summon it under the Tiger. It'll just die. He kind of throws away the whole game here by setting 2 back row because my monster's face down, so he can't even chain Ring if he has Ring, if I use the Storm. So I just Storm him here, and once I did that, if we just do a quick count, I'm up 5 cards to 2, and I know he's drawing King Tiger next turn. So this game's done.
You always got to play around Storm. Storm is too crazy. I mean, getting Storm for 2 that early, it's rough. I mean, you do what you got to do sometimes, but that was wild.
He got blown out here. There's no reason for him to set 2, I don't think. And I just set my other Wing Blast now, and to my surprise, he does the same play. So I know he has book again. So I was really happy when this happened. He says Battle Step. I say okay, and then now I pitch, I think, the Creature Swap and the Metamorphosis. So yeah, I pitched the Creature Swap, and then he sets a card. So in my head, I'm like, this card can't be real because he just got stormed for 2. He doesn't care about getting stormed. This card he had in his hand previously. You got to think about that type of stuff, right? We're using Wing Blast. We have to think. So he just drew King Tiger for turn, and he just set 2 back rows. He obviously doesn't care about getting blown out by Storm. This card's nothing. It's worthless. So I was like, okay, like just in case, I'll just attack with the Kaiku. If you wanted to protect, I don't know. His Mirror Force is, I believe, gone, right? Can you show me the graveyard just one more time?
Yeah, it was Mirror Force.
His Mirror Force is gone, but maybe it's Torrential. I don't know. So I set the Mimic, and I just pass. I set a bluff. I set a bluff because it doesn't matter. I know what he's drawing next turn.
Man,
so he runs over my Mimic. That's fine. Draw a card, and we draw Sangan. The Snatch Steal, I don't even think I use it. There's no point. We can get a clean run over here, and we can just set the Sangan. So a poor play would be to Snatch Steal that, because while Snatch is a built-in +1, it'd be very tempting to do so. Killing something is a real +1. There is no Snatch Steal on the board. What happens if he normal summons Breaker? Like, that would be terrible. And he does a Pro Breaker, runs over my Kaiku, and then pops the Snatch Steal after. That'd be terrible.
And you're down.
I might lose.
Yeah. That's great. A lot,
So just kill it.
that is a move. That is a move that a lot of newer players make. A lot of less experienced players make. They'll snatch something just for big damage, just to get the damage in. And the damage. I mean, if it's not game, I think it's a
It doesn't
waste. You know,
matter. It's a waste.
you're in complete
Complete
control of this
waste.
game. Okay.
Set the saying in, pass.
And
So he draws
there's
MST,
the MST
completely
too.
dead. Yeah. So if I snatch stole it, I mean he gets it back. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be useful, but MST is a dead draw, so he just has to set it. And I still have to respect torrential. So I'm happy. I'm poking for 18, and I'm accumulating cards, and I'm doing what control does. I'm here for the long game. And now he has to use MST blind to play around me using Solemn or something, which I don't even run, to protect that. And he just ends his turn. So I know when he just ends his turn and leaves a card in his hand, I knew with certainty that it's tribe. That's why I didn't flip up anything as well.
Right. Oh, because he has no discard fodder, and he's okay.
Correct. Correct. And I have no reason to use swords. I'm happy. I just end my turn. Set a goat. And he draws he does his thing. Cryo. It's fine, it's gone.
Dude, I think
And
a mega brain move would have been to swing on one of these sets first and then try. But I don't know. There's no way he could have
yeah.
known. There's no way he could have known. He gets blown out by
No, and
soccer or
then
something.
yeah, and then he does attack, and I think he does attack the spy. So now, because we held our snatch steal, I see a lethal shot. I'll just take his own monster and try. I don't know. I'll just try.
Yeah, that's GG's.
And then he just scooped. So, but the play there would have been just to attack with everything, obviously, because his mirror force is gone.
Okay. Man, that was dope. That was dope. I hope you guys learned something. And he's spitting, man. So make sure you guys pay attention to what he's saying, because this is some real stuff. And if for you that this might seem obvious, this may not be for you, but this is for the players who are just getting into this game and they're trying to get better faster. Mr. AJT PS5, man, what do you say? And I call him that because he won the PS5 out in Chicago last week. But what do you say to the people who say that this game is 100% about luck? It's completely solved. It is it's all about luck. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You're just gonna lose because luck is 100% the game.
Watch this game, and then maybe you will not think that, because this is one of the best games I played in the whole tournament. This game right
Okay.
here. And also, the math on that doesn't make any sense, because if you look at the top tables and you look at the previous tournaments, it'll be the same top. It'll be the same people topping over and over and over. And if according to that theory, if there's 68 people in a tournament, a good player has a 1 out of 68 chance. Everybody has a 1 out of 68 chance of winning. And
Mm-hmm.
if you run it into a calculator with the season I'm having or the season Rosito's having, it doesn't even mathematically make sense. It'd be like if everybody actually had a 1 out of whatever tournament they're joining to win or top, it would be like the chance of me having a season like I am would be like 1 in a couple million, and it'd be the same with Ivan,
Right.
or any other good player right now. So it doesn't make sense. That theory is hogwash, and this is why the game is so good. There's a lot of skill in this format.
There is.
So
I agree.
this is the most, he kills me this turn. You're gonna see the most demoralizing turn zero of all. And go ahead and run the
All right,
tape
here we
on
go.
this.
Man.
So he duos me. I'm hoping that I don't lose my ring. That's kind of the card I don't want to lose. I'm hoping I lose my faith if I had to pick. So he hits my Kaiku. I pitch my faith. That gives me light and dark right away. He then gracefuls. I'm like, okay, he's on warriors. He doesn't have real discards. That's fine. Then he pots, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm down so many cards. I'm going to the next game. He has to beat me twice in matches because he's in the losers bracket. He wins. That's what I'm thinking in my head. It's done. And my draw phase. I draw scapegoats. He has 2 cards set. That he plays trap dust shoots. I use my goats in my draw phase to play around a potential set trap dust shoot. I have to. I use this in my draw phase, and this is to play around trap dust shoot. So the text on trap dust shoot is when your opponent has 4 cards or more, they get to look at my hand and spin back a monster. However, in my draw phase, I have priority to do the first action. I use this, and this plays around trap dust shoot. He cannot chain trap dust shoot or use it technically in my draw phase here.
Smart.
So if he doesn't have shoot set, but this is something I was playing around, and also I'm eventually gonna have to use these goats anyways. I'm realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down. He has 7 cards. Sorry, he has 6 cards, and I have 4. I'm gonna take some damage eventually. I need these goats to walk. So I use it here, and he says, okay, fine. Now I get a lot of hate for this play, but I actually set the spy, and the reason why I do this is because I can protect it, and I'm okay with he noblemans it because I need to buy myself time. We're just
Right.
playing a waiting game here. We're playing a waiting game. So he noblemans it, fine. All my spies are gone. Sucks. He summons the Grandmaster, and I think I just let him.
Now,
I try
so
to remove the Kaiku. So pause. I try
okay.
to remove. I try to remove the Kaiku here because I already have Light and Dark in my grave, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of my good top decks. I'm down so much. Eventually, the Kaiku has to be answered. So I tried to Sakuretsu the Kaiku, and I was hoping that he would solemn it, which would be a very big mistake, but he ends up doing it. So he solemns it, he pays half, that's fine. Kill the goat, and I'm not using my ring. I could use my ring to kill the Kaiku now, but
Mm-hmm.
this ring I'm trying to save for a kill shot in case I top snatch or meta. And I
Oh,
do top snatch. Okay? So the play is here, we snatch steal the Kaiku, and I'll just try to ring the Grandmaster. And this is a kill shot if it works. This is a kill shot. And it's not gonna work, but he has to answer and kill his own monster. So fine, I'm down 3 cards to 0, but look at the life and look at the situation we were in. We had the opportunity for a kill shot.
right.
And
And
now,
what do you think about that? Like, if you find yourself in a position where you have an opportunity to take game, even though it might be slightly risky, do you take it every time, or do you kind of what numbers do you run to kind of come up with that analysis to kind of determine if you're going to go for it or not?
okay, so I go for game um, very aggressively, but I do it in calculated spots where if I'm in a winning position and I'm fine with the game continuing as it's going, I'm up 5 cards to 2. I have no reason to take a very risky play because I'm likely going to win the game. The
Mm-hmm.
longer it progresses, he's going to lose life, he's going to lose resources. He's going to lose life, he's going to lose resources. All of a sudden, it's just my stuff, and then he has no life. If
Right.
I'm behind, and especially against a deck that's looking to beat me in, like Warriors, if I see a kill shot and I'm down a billion cards, I'm gonna try to steal this game.
Right.
So that's why I was kind of doing it.
Okay.
He normals the Breaker, which is a misplay. I mean, he should probably be normaling the Blade Knight because the Breaker has abilities that are built in, but he just chooses to run over a goat and he passes. I draw a Tribe. There's nothing I can do with this. I just have to end my turn. And now he brings out the Blade Knight, and I take 1900. Another point here is that
Mm-hmm.
when he doesn't do anything else here, he chooses to, this might look elementary to us. I know that in his hand he has 2 monsters, and you should too, because of the way Blade Knight works. He chose to only summon a Blade Knight and attack a goat and attack me for 19. Blade Knight goes up to 2K if he has anything else, so I know his hand is monster clogged.
Mm.
So that's just running through the back of my head.
Okay. Keep that in the back of your mind. Oh, what a good draw.
We get
That's
a
a good
great
one.
top deck. We get a great top deck. And look what happens here. We're celebrating a top deck Thunder Dragon, whereas we could have top deck BLS and just won. We could have top deck Sorcerer and be in a great position. But a Thunder Dragon was just as good. Not as good as BLS because the game would be
Yeah.
over. But now we get to clear the board and poke him for 16. And now we're down 3 cards to 1, and he has 100 life. So he needs to answer this tribe, right? And he's going to use his exiled force, I believe. Okay. And if I top a monster, I win.
That's crazy. That's crazy. What happens? Oh,
I don't get it. I
dang.
don't get it.
Dang. Oh, no.
I don't get it.
Okay.
But I'm going to torrential anything he brings. I don't care what it is.
Okay.
That's got to be torrential. I have to. I'm trying to set myself up to top deck a Sinister Serpent, and I win.
All right. What
So
happens?
I miss it here too.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. 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 Slam that
Okay,
down.
but call's a good card there.
Oh,
He draws a dead shoot, and he here I think he made a severe mistake. I think he should be setting this card to buy himself time.
right.
But he chooses to poke me for 900,
Especially with all
and
his stuff being so dead.
it doesn't
Yeah.
even make sense.
Yeah.
So he attacks me, and I pause here, and I'm thinking, do I just like do I call the haunted and take a monster now? And the professional answer is no. And if he still has a snatch steal available, and he also might still have smashing ground. So what my brain thought is, I'll eat the 900,
Mm-hmm.
and in the end phase, I'll call back any monster I want, and I'll try to beat over this card. for the win because he can't use a snatch steal in the end phase. He can't use a smashing ground in the end phase. So we'll take the 900. It's no problem. Life points is a resource. We take it. No problem. Take it. And I end up having to think about it for a while, but I end up reaching the conclusion that that is the best line. And in the end phase, we take back Tribe, I believe. And
why Tribe and not the Kaiku? Just so he uses effect just in case.
Well, the reason why is just in case that if he has a way to answer this or something, and I draw like a serpent, I'll have like discard fodder. There's a couple cards that I could be playing around by taking the Tribe. I can't fully put my brain on it, but I think taking the Tribe was the correct answer. Okay. And then on my turn, I got the game shot. I don't use priority or the effect because I need some. If he has a Call of the Haunted, I need something to attack and kill. So I get the game, and I stole it, and I was celebrating. I was jumping up and down after this one because it's been a long time since I came back from such a deficit.
That was huge, man. That was huge. So you got full Trinity. Did you play any Trinity cards? You played none. Your opponent played all 3 in the very opening hand, and you just found a way to kind of slowly get back in, stay patient, make good calls, make good reads, and win. That's what it takes to be a champion in these streets, So hopefully you guys learned something from what your FLC champion, GOAT Grand Prix champion, all-around dope player had to say, man. So I appreciate that. Tell me what you guys think about that. Get into the comments. Let me know. So, Mr. AJTBLS, man, I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, again, for the 2-time, coming back through, saying what's up to me, hanging out, man, spending some time, teaching the GOAT world. This is called Champ Chat for a reason. I'm going to try to get more champs to come through. Ivor Rosito said he wants to come through and talk to the people, just to put people on game and let people know how to play. I definitely learned a lot about your process, and I can put that into my game to make myself better. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Is there anything else you want to say, man, before we cut this thing off, wrap it up, and move on?
Yes, I want to shout out my teammates on 519, my local Canadian team. I want to shout out my friend Chris Pateo, absolute legend in this game. I want to shout out Wes, Martel, and Higgins, and my online team, Ring of Destruction, as well. I wouldn't be at this phase of my Yu-Gi-Oh career without everybody and without the internal play testing. And up until this FLC and the GOAT Grand Prix, I was at Pateo's house. We must have played 50 matches in 1 week up until the Grand Prix that I won in Chicago. So we were putting in the work, and practice makes perfect, man.
Absolutely. And again, as I mentioned before, if you want to see that deck profile from the GOAT Grand Prix, I'm going to go ahead and link the AJTBLS YouTube page. If you're not already subscribed to that, go ahead and do that. Make sure you're subscribed to here as well, at goatformat.com YouTube page as well. We're all just trying to grow the game. We're all just trying to get better and play some goats, man. So this was a champ chat. I had the champ in the building. Hopefully you guys learned something. I'm JDZ. I play goats. Until the next time, you guys keep playing goats as well. Shout out to the real ones. Salute to the OGs. Peace. All right.
This program was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.